Al-baqiyat as-salihat. You see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wishes for us to do actions. And the reality is, every single one of us is acting as we speak. And every single one of us is continuously doing something. And those actions are either for us, or they will be against us, or they will be indifferent, neither this or that, but at least we would have wasted the time in those different actions. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us of the actions which are actually for us and not against us. And He calls these actions al-baqiyat as-salihat. Those actions which will remain, and those actions which happen to be as-salihat, the ones which are very, very pious as well. Now the reality is, the fact that they will remain comes after the fact that they happen to be pious. Because those actions which are not pious, they will not remain, except for the fact that people will be punished by those actions, right? But the fact that they remained from this world, i.e. remained useful for the individual, happened because they were pious actions. So the salah, the piety within the actions, is the cause for them to remain, by the leave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But even then, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls these actions which remain first, and pious second. He calls them actions which will remain and are pious, not actions which are pious and which will remain. Because normally you should mention the cause first, and then you should mention the caused second, right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the caused second, which is the fact that they will remain, and He mentions the cause second. And the reason for that is because when we look at the actions that we do within our life, which are pious actions, such as salah, such as zakat, such as siyam, such as feeding an orphan, such as just showing gestures of kindness to humanity, such as just saying good words, as the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-kalimatu tayyibatu sadaqah, a good word happens to be sadaqah. Or such as smiling, as the Prophet ﷺ said, tabassumuka fi wajhi akhika sadaqah, that smiling in the face of your brother happens to be sadaqah. All of these actions, when we look at these actions and we consider these actions, we do these actions first, and they then end up remaining forever in the hereafter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the quality of remaining first. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to realize that effect that we're trying to cause, right? Because when we're doing these actions, we're longing for the effect of the action, and we're not longing for the action itself, right? Because perhaps you're busy, perhaps you have wealth but you want to keep it to yourself, perhaps you are feeling sad internally and have a frown internally and don't have the will to smile, but you still force yourself to smile, right? So sometimes we don't have it within us to do the actions, we simply do them because we know there's a cause, we know that there's an effect, we know that there's an outcome if we were to actually force ourselves to do these good deeds. And the outcome is the fact that they are al-baqiyat, they are remaining when everything else is lost. كُلُّ شَيْءٍ هَالِكٌ إِلَّا وَجْهَهُ, that every single thing will be destroyed except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's existence. So then, when we come on the Day of Judgment, all of the realities that we see before us are all destroyed. The things that will remain, at least beneficial so, will be al-baqiyat, those things that we did in this particular world. Now, in regards to the world, they're as-salihat. When we get to the Day of Judgment, they become al-baqiyat, because of the fact that they happen to be as-salihat. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to do al-baqiyat as-salihat, actions which are pious, so that they remain as a provision for us on the Day of Judgment.